Good morning and welcome to this week's episode of Tot Off the Press. Get it? It's a pun. Don't we love it? This article comes from the Washington Post. It's titled Student Tracking Secret Scores, How College Admissions Offices Rank Prospects Before They Apply. To learn more about prospective students, admissions officers at the University of Wisconsin-Stout turned to a little-known but increasingly common practice. They installed tracking software on their school website. When one student visited the site last year, the software automatically recognized who she was based on a piece of code called a cookie, which you've probably had to click accept on several times on various different sites. You know what I'm talking about? This site uses cookies, okay, which it had placed on her computer during a prior visit. The software sent an alert to the school's assistant director of admissions containing the student's name, contact information, and details about her life and activities on the site, according to internal university records reviewed by the Washington Post. The email said she was a graduating high school senior in Little Chute, Wisconsin, of Mexican descent who had applied to UW-Stout. The admissions officer also received a link to a private profile of the student, listing all 27 pages she had viewed on the school's website and how long she spent on each one. A map on this page showed her geographical location, and an affinity index estimated her level of interest in attending the school. Her score of 91 out of 100 predicted she was highly likely to accept an admission offer from UW-Stout, the record showed. Now, colleges are collecting more data about prospective students than ever before, part of an effort, administrators say, to make better predictions about which students are most likely to apply, accept an offer, and enroll. Records reviewed by the Post show at least 44 public and private universities in the United States work with outside consulting companies to collect and analyze data on prospective students by tracking their web activity or formulating predictive scores to measure each student's likelihood of enrolling, or both of those things. The practices may raise a hidden barrier to a college education for underprivileged students. While colleges have used data for many years to decide which regions and high schools to target their recruiting, the latest tools let administrators build rich profiles on individual students and quickly determine whether they have enough family income to help the school meet revenue goals. The Post identified colleges with data operations by reviewing the customer lists of two top admissions consulting firms, and the Post interviewed admissions staffers at 23 colleges, examined contracts and emails obtained from 26 public universities through open records laws, and used a web privacy tool to confirm the presence of Capture Higher Ed's tracking software on the websites of 33 universities. Records and interviews show that colleges are building vast repositories of data on prospective students, scanning test scores, zip codes, high school transcripts, academic interests, web browsing histories, ethnic backgrounds, and household incomes for clues about which students would make the best candidates for admission. At many schools, this data is used to give students a score from 1 to 100, which determines how much attention colleges pay them in the recruiting process. Scoring and tracking are popular at schools that are struggling to survive, right? Faced with shrinking sources of funding and growing competition for high school graduates, cash-strapped colleges are experimenting with new ways to identify and attract students who can afford to pay tuition. Admissions consulting companies charge schools tens of thousands of dollars a year to collect and analyze the data of millions of students. And emails reviewed by the Post, employees of Louisville-based Capture Higher Ed urged school administrators to hand over all data they felt comfortable sharing. "We love data, so the more the merrier," one of Capture's consultants wrote in a 2017 email to the admissions director at UW-Stout. Capture Higher Ed spokesman Jim Davidson said the company helped schools provide relevant information to students who have chosen to receive that information. Students can opt out of web tracking by contacting schools directly, according to him. We're not going to do a super deep dive here on this article. It's fairly long, and I'll put a link to it in the description if you want to check it out and read the whole thing for yourself. But many colleges do not make students aware that they're doing this and do not give them the option to opt out of it. According to this article, which is interesting because if a site uses cookies, you're supposed to be able to click, nope, don't want that, at the very beginning. But then you're also, most of the time, not able to use the site afterwards. So what are our options here? I'd love to know what you think. Leave a comment below. Shoot me an email at jeshuadouglasnoel@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at jeshuadnoel, JESHUADNOEL. All this stuff is in the description anyways. If you'd like to support the show, there is a place where you can buy merch on Teespring. We've got t-shirts and coffee mugs that say The Thumb Through, so everyone can know what you've been listening to lately and that you love to learn new things all the time about your field. Have a wonderful day and never stop learning.